And so we are extremely happy that you're still with us. If you just joined the conversation, we welcome you to a very special celebration of the International Day of Happiness on Today with John and Helen on PlusTvAfrica. Indeed, happiness is a human right. And joining us right about now is the founder, Andy Speaks for Special Needs Persons Africa. She's also a business brand strategist, a humanitarian, an ambassador, and special needs advocate. She's a mother of 3 beautiful children, 2 with autism spectrum disorder.
Yeah, and she's my friend.
And she's my friend too.
So our guest is also an accomplished Rotarian, right? Who, with her outstanding effort and achievement, has to her credit many international awards.
Too many.
Too many. Indeed, too many to mention here. She is CEO, Tech Hub Holdings, and National Director, African Pageants, this and that. Just join us in welcoming Sylvia Mora Mochabo. Sylvia, I got you in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really I should let people know that Sylvia just came in from Kenya. She is Kenyan,
yeah.
And she's on a visit to Nigeria.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for taking time to be on the show with us today as we celebrate a very special day and mark the International Day for Happiness. Happiness is a very good thing, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. It is.
So your job will be to share with us a bit, share with us the bite of anxiety, which we have talked about in the first segment, and how to deal with it, and bring happiness on board. All right, John, this is a show of Rotarians. I'm in the background, so please.
Never mind, we'll consider your application.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, Sylvia, it's good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm quite elated. You see, when I met Sylvia about 4 years ago,
Yes.
Yeah, the first thing that struck me was how she was able to carry on with all the challenges which she explained to us at that time. 3 big boys, 2 of them with special needs. I must confess.
My first born is turning 16. My second born is 12 and a half. Then the last born is 10.
All right.
Yes.
So you have all
and
of
the 10 are the ones who
with the last.
So your hands are so full with boys.
Yes.
And yet you feel that this topic is one you can talk about.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us, Sylvia, what is your interpretation of anxiety?
Anxiety, I believe, is a reaction of our environment mostly and the things that we go through. And at some point, it can be a choice. Let me give you an example. Now that I'm here in your big city, Nigeria, Lagos, the first thing, like the traffic, we have a choice. You're seated in traffic, and it can be overwhelming. But how we react to it, you can choose 2 things. Pop up the volume, enjoy the music, look out through the window, count how many cars there are, what's the latest, and etc. Appreciate that. We call them in Kenya Mama Mboga. That is the small shops by the roadside. What's new, are things painted, appreciate the environment. Or you can get pissed off.
And
you
scream.
can start, screaming at everyone. Have that road rage we always see. And that, you see, it's the hormones that we will activate, And then, let's say you are going to a meeting. That anxiety will start building. Oh my God, I'm going to get late. Now you're blaming everyone. At that time, I tell you, you will hate your government, even everyone around you. But then, as I said, it's a choice. Same to happiness. We're celebrating.
It's a choice.
Yeah, we're celebrating International Happiness Day. Yeah. It's a choice to be. Okay, it's not a choice. Sometimes we are sad. We should have to acknowledge our emotions and we go through them. But there is a point in time we have to appreciate that happiness is not a destination. It is a journey.
It's a journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
And most of us want to be like, when I be happy. No, you live for now. This moment is what you
so
have.
Be happy.
Be happy now.
No, just be happy.
Even in the circumstances, choose what you're going to look at it. It's either half full, half empty.
Wow.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
All right, the good books, I remember now as you're talking, says we should count our blessings one after the other. And when we do that, we will really, really acknowledge the plenty
that we have.
that are blessings,
Yes.
you know,
Yes,
rather than on the other side when you talk about the cup being full or, you know, being half empty. So anxiety is best described as an emotion, like you said. Now, tell us exactly how you feel when you have your bouts of anxiety. You know, is it nervousness? Is it fear? Is it confusion? What it is, especially with the extremely brilliant job that you're doing with what ordinarily would keep any human being
on their toes. Anxiety comes, and like I said, it's how we react to it. There are those days you're more anxious. And remember, when you get special needs children, it's not something you sign up for. There's no manual of how you're going to navigate through it. So it's our reaction to the situation. I'll give you an example. On top of having autism and ADHD, there is the component of epilepsy as a comorbid condition on autism. And both of my kids have it. At least one I know is triggered by, is febrile. That means when they get high fevers, it can happen. But then my middle child, who's more severe, it happens any day. But then the first times, like the first time I saw it, it's that all that emotion. There is fear, there is that confusion. There is the greatest is, yes, that nervousness. What do I do? Where do I go from here? But what I said, how we react, keep calm and acknowledge the situation. This is something I had to learn over the 10 years of being a special needs parent, because it becomes to a point when I will panic. But what can I change? What can I not change? How do I embrace this situation that I'm dealing with right now? I already learned the patterns. It happens mostly early in the morning. The side effect is now when it gets to 4 a.m., I'm always on the edge. Like I can hear even a pin dropping, you know? Because you see, convulsions is something that unless it comes with sound or some gag, because you see they're struggling to breathe. So you have to be really, really keen. You know, so you learn to also adjust. Otherwise, I'd never sleep. I would never sleep. So those are some of the amendments that you have to have. And then learn and educate yourself. What are your triggers? Then now, how do you handle them? When if you have an anxiety disorder, because there is something like that. There is anxiety disorder. Or sometimes you go through things that traumatizes so much that anything close to that experience always gets you on your toes, right? So after that, you need to learn to calm yourself down and look for the solution for that moment. Like, what do I do for me as a person to just regulate my anxiety?
You've used the word learn a few times. So this is like learning on the job.
Yeah.
It's like learning on the job.
Like I said, there's no manual.
They're learning every day.
Now, anxiety being an emotion, you know, we talked about it before you came in. It could be negative or positive, right? Do you swing between these moods too?
Let's say positive. I'll give you an example. When I went for Miss Africa competition, it was my first time ever. I had not rocked a ramp before. But then now you're like, all the things you see on TV, you're like, what questions are going to be asked? It's so different, you know? Then there is that expectation of like, I hope I will win. Sometimes we want to win. You have worked so hard to get something. But then you're also anxious, like, will it go my way? You said something about expectations earlier. I always tell myself, great expectations make frustrated men. So that level of anxiety because of anticipating something can also be your downfall.
Can be,
you know? Because you see that level of anxiety, like when you're walking the ramp, let's say for those competitions in pageants, you can trip and fall because your whole body is shaking, because your body reacts also to the emotion. The extent of your emotions also causes physical side effects, because you find we will be shaking, you know, and people start fidgeting to cope with that anxiety. And that is also something else that we see also with our special needs children when we are adjusting, because even when they are anxious, imagine the ones who are non-verbal and they can't communicate. Right? They get anxious, they're trying to communicate, they can't, so they get frustrated. Then they develop behaviors, and those behaviors to us as a general community come out as bad behaviors. We start branding them as this child is indisciplined, as this child is entitled, but we're not imagining ourselves. Imagine you can't talk, you're trying to communicate. You know, how frustrating and how much anxiety that can cause you. So adjusting also our environment can really, really contribute to how we cope with some of these situations in life.
Adjusting.
Yeah, and because we are in this season celebrating International Day of Happiness, I wonder what factors that you have realized. Anxiety would be one of them. What other factors contribute to stealing away our happiness? And how do we, how do we get it back?
I think as human beings, we wallow so much on negativity, all right? Something can happen. Instead of seeing what lesson do I get from this, we always ask, why me? And like they say, why not you? You'd rather say, try me, man, like bring it on. And then they say, like, let me, let me get out of this a victor, right? Because even in all these challenges when you're raising special, those days come. The thing is allowing yourself to go through the emotions. There are those days I'm sad. There are those days I wish away autism that I would have a normal. When I'm with my friends and we have children of the same age, I see their children being able to do all these things and I'm like, I wish my baby could do that. It pains you, but I don't dwell on that. I appreciate the child for who they are, and that's what makes the difference. You embrace what it is. You focus on the ability and not the inability of that person.
Sylvia, I've been trying to decode you for a few years now. maybe I'll succeed in doing that today. Now tell me, it looks like you are your own personal therapist. In the sense that you've been able to engage yourself in so many activities. You just talked about the pageant, beauty pageant. You've won that several times. In her CV, I think there was something about Andy speaks for
Special needs.
Special needs. That's another. What are the other things that you do to? What are you even doing here? What are you doing here in Lagos?
Oh, that's a good question. So I am a very ambitious person. That let me tell you, and I follow what God tells me.
Okay.
So I've always run awareness. Our lessons. This is what I believe. We don't live for ourselves. All right. Even a tree doesn't eat its own fruits. It doesn't use its shade for itself. The lessons that we get through when God gives you something. What's the purpose behind it? And I remember this was one of my greatest questions to myself. Why? Why 2 kids? Why do I have to go through this? But what I got out of it is like, I wouldn't be the leader in the disability space right now if I hadn't gone through it. It's because I can understand my next mother, what they're going through. When a parent says, I can't afford diapers, I know. When they say I'm pained because my child is doing this or has this behavior or can't talk, I know and I understand the pain. So when I stand as a leader in that space, and even in the beauty pageant, that's what I champion for, inclusion of persons with neurodevelopmental disabilities. It's a very small and new space, but yet it's not small, it's big. We're talking about 1 is to 54 in the autism spectrum, but it's because of the culture and our environment that we have shunned them. They can't come out. All right. So that is one of the things that drives me. Now you want to decode me. That's my driver. And my babies are my teachers, because without going through that journey, I wouldn't be here. So I started this ride for autism awareness. And this year, God put it in me, it's going to be regional.
That's another therapy for you.
Yeah, it's therapy. We're giving. There is endorphins are actually produced when you're giving, when you're serving. There is that service above self, like we say in Rotary, that just gives you a satisfaction.
Okay.
The pain wasn't in vain. So I am just raising awareness. That's why I'm here, because World Autism Awareness Day is on 2nd of April around the corner. Okay. And we are doing it in Kenya, South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, and Ethiopia.
Awesome.
Yes. So that's why I am here. Awesome. Yes.
Happiness, they say, is contagious.
Yes, indeed.
And as you give it to the world, we can see you radiating it 24/7, I want to believe. And it's not the absence of challenges and difficulties. It's a choice to take it, bring it on.
Bring it.
Bring it on.
Rather than run away from it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we wish you the very best.
Thank you.
And our love to your kids.
I will
love to your children.
I will send
and
them
thank
for
you.
sure.
Well, quite a whole lot to take home, I must say. And thank you again for helping many of our viewers answer a lot of the questions, that they probably have put together since we sent out the promo that you would be on the show. We are resolved to stay happy by working on our hormones, with exercises. We have an exercise segment on this show. Okay. And I'm sure that is something that also gets a few people happy and going. All right. So, our exercise segment is next?
Yes, our exercise segment is next. At least we've done Sylvia Mochabo decoded. So now you can go to the gym, and after the gym, Ferron will be here with her guest, Michelle Obatoimbo, to look at raising boys against raising girls.
Wow.
So let's head for the gym first
Thank you again.
and be a part of it.